Hello, I'm Bill Woods, and this is Sandown, back in partnership with the 500-kilometre endurance format for the first time in a few years, and it couldn't have come at a better time. This could be a decisive round of the 2003 championship.
Today, there's more than one mission, more than one player, more than just one race. Because every single lap of Sandown is one lap closer to Bathurst. It's about precision, pressure, pairing off and switching on. It's about more than going the distance. It's when two become one. The Betta Electrical 500, only on your home of motorsport, Network 10.
It's a family affair here as we bring ourselves to one of the southernmost rounds of the championship in 2003. Historic, yes, but also a great facility. Families have poured in over the last couple of days, and in big numbers too. And this is the kind of weather they can expect. Very windy yesterday, not so much today, but a bit of everything, in fact, as we search for 15 degrees maximum. 35 starters, same number of laps as Bathurst, but of course the circuit is half the length of Mount Panorama. The pit window is very large, and watch out for that race distance. 75% is 121 laps. Could be a factor with the weather predicted to be very, very wet indeed. And the other big numbers, of course, this weekend are the championship points. And that is what is going to be significant with drivers paired up for the first time this season. As we take a look at the top men in the championship, Marcus Ambrose is dominating. If you lose the worst round for each of those drivers, the order doesn't change a heck of a lot, but it does squeeze them up dramatically. And, of course, they can't afford to have a DNF at this round or any of the others in the run to the final round of the championship. Mark Scape in 5th position, but still very much a contender. And on that subject, there were plenty in the qualifying sessions. It was a perfect example of how heated the competition has been this weekend. Very, very high winds down the two straights, going in opposite directions, of course, back straight and front. And it caused a lot of drama in the braking areas. Not so much for the Shell Helix team of Stephen Johnson, Max Wilson behind the wheel of the other. You can see them together there, Stephen running off, but he was very, very quick indeed. Maxie was fast as well. He's in the top 10 for a while, but Junior actually jumped over him into 7th position. Max just outside that top 10, but look at the time difference there between the top three drivers, 200ths of a second. 23 drivers in the 111s after regular qualifying. Remarkable stuff, and Paul Radicic on top of it all. A great breakthrough for the Betta Electrical team, and of course for the Rat, who's finally back and in the big picture. Let's take a look at how he fared and the other 9 in the top 10 shootout.
All right, thank you, Billy. Well, the first man out is Craig Lowndes, a two-time winner of the Sandown 500. Just made it into the shootout. This Ford Performance Racing BA is causing just a few headaches. We can take a look at the FPR combo. Lowndes and Glenn Seaton. Craig, 7th in the championship. Glenn, 21st. Lowndesy making his 80th career start. And, of course, Glenn Seaton, one of the most experienced men in the field as far as best results go. You can see it right there. First, 18 times for Craig Lowndes. 17 career victories for Glenn Seaton.
And last year at the championship round here, Lowndes did a stellar job in his qualifying lap. Grabbed the car by the scruff of the neck, and that's what he's going to have to do today as well. Hugs the extreme left-hand side of the road on the approach to the end of the back straight, nudging 255 kilometres an hour into one of the fastest corners in Australian motorsport. A little touch of oversteer right at the critical point.
Two wheels for Craig Lowndes. That lap that Neil talked about last year was one of the most extraordinary single laps. He didn't end up with pole position. Somehow he managed to fight what was a pretty nasty AU Falcon. It's a different story here. The BA back onto the main straight for Craig Lowndes. Car number 6. He stops the clock at 1:12.682.
Glenn, 12.6. I guess it's difficult to get one lap in here with temperatures.
There's no doubt, Darryl, and this will be probably the worst track for it because it's bloody cold being here in Melbourne. But not only that, you've got the big long straights, so they're going to take a long while to try and get temperature into them around here. So I'd probably say 12.6 is half reasonable.
Our 9th qualifier, the Siramea Lifestyle Wines team. Paul Morris teaming up with John Faulkner this weekend. Faulkner back in the saddle after stepping down from full-time driving at the end of last year. Morris, of course, in control for this lap. 72 career starts. one championship victory at Calder Park for Paul Morris, teaming up with John Faulkner.
They've found the sweet spot with this car, very advanced in many areas, and Morris has been driving it particularly strongly in recent rounds. Split time shows that he's down on Lowndes, and this is going to be a whole different ball game to the previous qualifying session where tyres are largely cold. Look at the amount of oversteer on exit, second gear out of the Dandenong on-road left-hander into this reprofiled turn 8. Short squirt in the throttle in second gear and then back onto the front straight. Critical bumps here on exit. He keeps the car ideally straight.
It's a loose one, and he'll be outside the time. 1:13.016, 3/10 down on Lowndes' first time. The third man out, John Bowe, the Aussie Mail Racing Team combo. A couple of likely-looking lads, JB and BJ.
Would anybody buy a used car from these two characters? I don't know.
Well, the numbers here, they simply add up to experience. 15 victories for John Bowe, 25 pole positions. Let's check in on his hot lap.
Opting for green tyres all round in a different cycle-up approach to the lap, where Lowndes, for example, went out and went hard on the outlap. Bowe spent a lot of time wriggling and wiggling the car, cycling the brake pedal, trying to radiate heat out through the rim and into the tyre case, because the big issue in this shootout, because of the cool, blustery conditions here at Sandown, is temperature, temperature, temperature.
I mentioned 25 career poles for John Bowe, 5 of those at this circuit. 2/10 down throughout Sector 2.
Kilometres an hour across the face of this final corner. Now squeezing everything out of the Aussie Mail Falcon on exit, and then the split time showing that he's got deficit to Lowndes, finishes up at a 12.9.
Rayleigh, I can see you thinking about that one. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's hard to go out there and go hard right off the bat, and you know, JB's done a great job to get it into the top 10. We were really struggling with speed today, which compared with yesterday is amazing. But you know, it's a long race, and we're in the 10. We'll see what happens for the rest of the run. And it's in one piece. We're in good shape so far.
Our 7th qualifier is Stephen Johnson, partnering Warren Luff for DJR's Enduro campaign. You can see that Luff is not full-time in the V8s yet. Junior, 71 starts, 2 career victories. One of those, the Queensland 500. Car number 17.
These guys experienced the low of lows at Oran Park several weeks ago, where they were right up the back of the field. They've gone away to Queensland Raceway, had a positive test. They come here this weekend in a much more positive frame of mind with a car that's behaving much more true to form.
There was absolutely nothing in it in the first sector. The second sector is now 1/10 of a second behind Lowndes. A little bit of a lock-up for Junior Johnson. Punches through the gears.
Serious driver commitment down through the S's. He's got the front right lock, but he still makes the apex. No damage done there. Curb hops a little at the final turn, turn 9. Down 1/10 of a second.
The checkered flag for Stephen Johnson, and he goes to the top. A 1:12.67, 1/100th of a second in it. Unbelievable. Dick Johnson celebrates. The South Australian-based Team Dynamic qualified 6th. The all-Kiwi combination of Simon Wills and Jason Richards. Wills in control for the hot lap. 20th in the championship, 27 years of age. And actually, he's the defending 500 champion. He won the corresponding race last year at Queensland with David Bernard. But on the timesheets, 0.18 of a second inside that time of Stephen Johnson. 45.23 was Johnson as he came to Sector 2. What about Simon Wills? 1 green box. Can he make it 2 green boxes? Yes. 1 more and he goes to the top of the list. Goes straight over the curve. Big lock-up. That will ruin his lap.
Oh, he managed to just hold the thing on the road, but that was costly. It locked the front left, then the front right. He's probably picked up a flat spot on the tyre as a result of that.
Everything was looking kind of okay, especially on the sheets.
A lot of negative camber on the front of that car, so a small contact patch of tyre on the road, and the lock-up was set off when he got onto the grass through the S's of the back straight, but it's still good enough for first.
Well done, mate. P1.
Oscar on the radio, 12.6. Good effort, all things considered.
Absolutely unbelievable. He managed to salvage that one. So, Simon Wills with his teammate Jason Richards for now, after the first 5 in the top 10 shootout, lead the list. 2/100ths of a second in it. 5 men down, 5 to go in the top 10 shootout for the Betta Electrical Sandown 500. left to go in the shootout. This man, Stephen Ellery, is next on the list. We'll take a look at the Super Cheap combo. Ellery pairing up with 25-year-old Luke Youlden for the second straight year. These guys finished top 10 at Bathurst last year. And by the way, down there, best result, Stephen Ellery second, came right here at Sandown.
Spectacular pictures always come from Sandown, and Ellery, who's been pretty hot all weekend, showing good speed so far.
So close, 6/100ths of a second.
Very deep at the end of the back straight, very, very deep. Huge headwind, 255 km/h approach. Stability's an issue here, and he goes around. Turns it around, locks the rear brakes and sticks it into the edges of the gravel. Bruce Ellery, his dad, frustrated, and he'll be filthy with himself. And I just commented on the fact that stability and being able to settle the car and get into Dandenong Road is an absolutely critical element to your lap time.
We mentioned it had been forgiving up until now. Sandown bites back. Ellery had it all in front of him. 2 green boxes. He was right on the hammer of Simon Wills's time, and now that's a blowout.
It'll be a little bit of pad knockoff. When you hit the curbs aggressively around here, you go for, and here it hits it again. The front pads settle as the pistons in the calipers go back. You put your foot on the brake, you get more rear brake bias than you'd like. That's typically the issue. It may not necessarily be for Stephen on this occasion, but that's half a chance in that location.
Okay, let's check out our 4th qualifying team, the Kmart team of Greg Murphy and Rick Kelly. Murph, 3rd in the championship at the moment. 6 championship victories in his career, including back-to-back wins of the Sandown 500 back in '96.
Very, very difficult thing for a driver to do in these conditions with a low amount of grip available, particularly when the last time you drove the car, you were able to work at it, get yourself up to warmth and rhythm, get the car working right, heat soak through the brakes, warmth in the tyres, you do a lap time. Now you come out with a situation with cold tyres with only 1 warm-up lap. How far do you poke the car? Up here, for example, with an approach speed of 255 k's. It's all about feel and being right at the edge, but not over it.
Well, he's left himself the toughest job at Sandown, making it up in the last sector, a 10th down on Simon Wills's time. The 29-year-old Kiwi looking for his 2nd pole position of the year.
Bit of oversteer on exit here, the flare in the engine revs, bit of wheel spin.
Did he do enough in the last sector? By gosh, he did. 2/10ths better. Rick
Good
Kelly
job, mate.
is a happy man.
In that last sector.
Okay, 3 to go. Possibly the most talked about pairing of the Enduro. Stone Brothers Racing. Championship leader Marcus Ambrose with the enforcer Russell Engel. Of course, Marcus is the man for this lap. 34 starts, 7 victories, 5 of those coming this year. He's already 2/10ths of a second through in Sector 1 on Murphy's time. We knew they would come out with a good car. Can he put it all together?
They had a successful test at Queensland Raceway. Momentum is with these guys at the moment in the championship lead. That car just behaving beautifully across the curbing. Scuffed tyres, but obviously green. Look at that split time in the second split, up 0.45, virtually half a second going into the second last corner. This car, as it has done in recent races, looking spectacularly easy to drive. It's never the case.
Sorry, Neil, he's just chewed through the times there. 112 will be blown away. He goes into the 111s. Marcus Ambrose sets himself up for the 5th pole position of 2003.
Not a bad lap fall, I was a little bit tentative into 1. Just probably proved okay though, because had a bit of a wobble through the middle of the corner, but you know, just trying to get as much heat as you can in. I don't know if he did a good enough job. Wait and see, eh?
The Holden Racing Team, car number 1, Mark Scaife and Todd Kelly. Look at the numbers for Scaife. They say it all, don't they? 143 starts, 34 victories. Let's join his hot lap.
Down 0.37 at the first split on Ambrose. That's a lot of time to make up.